I hope you had a great weekend, that you could recharge. I think we'll need it this week. Again, should be an interesting week. The goal for me will really be to stay on the right side of the trend. Um, yeah, QQQ, we can take QQQ chart. Just starting there, price action first. I shared that over the weekend. But yeah, that will really be again the chart that I use to assess the market trend, which side I decide to engage and be positioned, right? So for me, within a long-term uptrend, I don't want to short, right? But when we get below weekly structure, when we get that type of base breakdown that we had in the last 2 weeks. So 2 weeks ago, we broke that multi-week kind of base that we were building just below the weekly structure, lower highs. We broke that base, retest. So we closed the week right at the November low, 579. And last week, we retested that upper structure at 594, retested the weekly structure as well. And yeah, we closed the week super weak and closed below that multi-month base now. So we have a confirmed base breakdown. We are officially trending below a declining weekly structure. And the same is true for the daily time frame as well. You can see that multi-week kind of consolidation chop and the following breakdown that we had early last week. And then what that rally was all about was really to retest that structure rejection on Monday. So retest rejection on Monday, then lower high, and that's where things kind of slid into the end of the week, and we had Thursday and Friday super weak action. So what we will do from here, I don't have a clue, right? But what I know is that now the weekly time frame, daily time frame, I are both aligned, right? Um, so keep in mind that we are very stretched. So we are 2.8 times ETR below the daily structure, and we are 3.6 times ETR below the weekly structure. What does it mean? It means that we're price extended. And if we take bread extensions as well, so let's look at the McClellan oscillator, and let me switch screen. So that's the same thing that you want to assess, right? You want to assess price, are we extended or not? And the same thing breadth-wise, right? So the McClellan oscillator at 1.5 standard deviation, we're backed oversold. And same thing applies for the McClellan summation. So we're approaching the low from last April. We're at 1.6 standard deviation below the average. We're not extreme oversold, so obviously there's more room to the downside, but you just have to recognize that we're pretty stretched to the downside. Uh, the thing is that we're also breaking down from multi-month base and a multi-week daily consolidation as well. So these type of breakdown can carry some momentum, some breadth thrust to the downside. So do we need to go lower, more extended? I don't have a clue. But what I do know, if I come back to trading view, what I do know, right, is that it's not an optimal short point, right? So just like in an uptrend, you want to wait for the market to come um, into support, not so when you're in an uptrend, you don't want to engage in an overbought market. You don't want to engage in an extended to the upside market. So that's the same thing that I'm looking to do this week, right? So considering that we were a bit stretched, that's super normal action that we are seeing to rally. What do we have to retest? Maybe that 24K um, structure area on the NASDAQ futures. So 1, 2, 3 days of rally, of continuation rally to retest that March 9, to retest that March 2023-ish that we broke. So it's super usual to see a break and retest, right? That's the same thing that we saw early last week. So maybe that's the same thing on repeat this week. Breakdown, retest early this week, create that weekly tail as well. Pull some buyers in as well, and reject and reconfirm the downtrend a bit later in the week. So that's what I want to see to engage. I want to see price to come closer to the daily structure, uh, at least below 1 ATR from the 21 EMA. That's where I will look to add more exposure again. Uh, but at the same time, I want to see that my positions that I opened last week are holding up, right? So Amazon, that's a pretty meaningful breakdown, right? I was able to trim that before the weekend. So all good, it's risk free. Um, I'm looking for maybe a retest of that area. Let's see if it holds, if it reject, if it reclaim. That will always that will all be clues to assess the market overall, not just the cues, not just the breadth, but also all these names that broke down from sounds setups last week will do around their retest. That will be very good information. Apple, super weak, rejected of the daily structure on Friday, close week. Let's see how it does. Do we form a higher low? Do we need to tighten up on the right side for a few more days before another breakdown? That's something that I will look for today in the next few days. Docu, I decided to keep because that's a very weak chart. That's the first weekly structure retest since that breakdown in December of last year. MicroStrategy, which is called strategy, still room to backtest. I do have good cushion on that. So I'm personally looking for that kind of structure retest area. Can we retest and reject? Do we reject, form a higher low? That's all the same price action that we always go through in an uptrend, right? I'm looking for the same clues. Do we simply reclaim the daily structure, reclaim that base structure? So that's all the clues that I will look in the next few days to assess if I keep or not my short positions, right? Right now I have the cushion to be patient. I want to see how they react to that gap up this morning. So again, reclaim, retest, sideway action, retest, rejection, higher low, and reclaim, or rejection and lower low, and we reconfirm the downtrend. That's all the price action potential scenario that I want to look for assessing the health of those setups. And Expedia, so another very weak chart. Longer term, we have that trend breakdown, back test of the declining weekly structure. I really like that setup. But there was an upgrade this morning, so gapping up a bit more compared to the rest. We'll see. I'm still above or below my cost basis. So how do we react to that daily structure retest? Do we open up, gap up and fade, gap up and go, form another lower high, right? So that's something that I want to look for. Are we just coming back into that base, form another lower high, and just need more time before that breakdown happens? All right. So again, I don't want to be too bearish. I always hate to be too bearish, too bullish. I want to remain neutral. But right now, being neutral is playing the short side, right? What's the trend saying? The trend is saying that it's down, that the path of least resistance is down. Even if we need to counter trend rally at some point, just like in an uptrend, a downtrend is not in straight line. Usually it's more in straight line than it is in an uptrend. But even then, if the downtrend is well in place, there will be breakdown, rallies, rejection, reconfirmation of the downtrend with a new low, etc., etc. And well, when we'll break that pattern, when we'll start to break and reclaim the daily structure, reclaim the weekly structure, then it will be time to look at the long side again. All right, I don't want to get caught on the wrong side. I've been playing the long side a bit too long. Those last few years really paid to be focused long too long, right? And that's why I was a bit too bullish in the last few months. But now I really want to focus on the cues, on the trend, and really stay on the right side of the market. All right. And right now it's to the downside. And the position will give good clues as well. If they reclaim their daily structure, then I'm out. And that's another set of information to assess the downtrend strength. So again, no trade for me today, unless we have a massive rally and we retest that 24K ish structure area. That would be quite a move, to be honest. Yeah, that would be almost a 3% move. So I doubt we get that unless there's a big piece news. And the 24 DMA structure is almost 5% from here. So we probably need time to digest that break over multiple days. So I'm probably not trading today, tomorrow. Keep in mind that we have a short week as well. So I'm pretty comfortable with the exposure that I have right now, below 50%. I don't plan to go beyond that until we get that retest of declining structures. All right, so I hope it's clear, guys. If we look at the internals as well, we have the VIX trading at new highs. We have a weekly base breakout as well. That market is going nowhere until that chart is breaking down. I'm sorry to say that, but the market is fearful of crude oil prices, mainly due to Middle East situation, right? But unless we see that price of crude oil break down from that structure, that market is not going anywhere. Credit spreads close to a new high. Weekly base breakout as well. Bitcoin, that's an interesting one. So we are retesting that weekly structure, retesting that daily structure as well. So we're not as extended to the downside as the Nasdaq is. So that will be one to watch how it will do on the retest of the daily structure. We have tech versus staples that rejected their weekly structure retest last week. That was a pretty nasty rejection. Weekly reversal confirmed. We had that weekly base breakdown as well since we topped last October. And yeah, let's look if we make a new low this week, or we just see kind of a base and eventually we kind of reclaim the weekly structure and we'll see improvement in the market. But that rotation need to stop. We need to see inflows in XLK. But right now, that's the same look as the Qs, right? The Qs is basically technology weighted. So that makes sense that XLK is showing the same base breakdown, rollover top with a weak close last week. Lower highs leading to it. So that's why I'm pretty focused on the short side. That's a pretty meaningful base breakdown, and even if early on this week we retest that base, that will be treated as a short opportunity. Yeah, and all of the same, again, I don't have any focus list. I want to see that counter trend rally, that cool off in the extensions to the downside. All right, so I hope it's clear, guys. I don't know if you have any questions. I don't know if you guys play at all the short side. If you don't, then that's really a time to stay out of the market, right? The downtrend is well confirmed. The internals are making new highs, so really not a time to engage to the long side, guys. So yeah, if you don't short, sit it out, go do other things, and just watch the cues when we reclaim not only the daily structure, which could only be a counter trend rally, a longer counter trend rally in the weekly trend, but you also want to see that weekly structure reclaim at this point in the cues. To get a meaningful long opportunity, right? You want to focus there. All right. All right, guys. So have a good day. Have a good week. And again, reminder that we have a short week. So Friday is closed. So that will be a shorter week, and the Middle East situation is still there. So you can expect a pretty news-driven market once again. And let's see the reaction to the news. That should give good clues as well. All right, so have a good day. Have a good week, guys. Take care. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the proper Discord channels. All right, take care. Bye bye.